Hi, hello everyone. Sorry for the delay. Just got caught up with something. Okay, let's
Hello
get started.
everyone, very good evening. This is Karthik from Raj Cloud Technologies. Let me share my screen. Yeah, can someone confirm me in the chat box? Like, are you able to see my screen? And can you hear me properly? Yeah, thank you so much for the confirmation. Yeah, without any delay, like I'll just give a 2 minutes introduction and I'll just hand over the session to Ambarishan Garu or try now. So I welcome you all to today's Power BI Batch-5 Session-1. Yes. Just a second, please. Yeah, admitted everyone. So, this is our website. So, razinformatica.com. So, you can check out you can check out many things in our website. If you can check out interview questions, material, internship programs, and the courses that we are offering. So, everything you can find out in our website that is called razinformatica.com. And so, whoever missed the previous classes, I mean, this is our first session actually. So, we have given demos as well. We have given 2 demos as well. Okay, so this is our YouTube channel. We have a YouTube channel called Raj Informatica Real-Time Hands-on Job-Based Training. So in this YouTube channel, like we have uploaded all the videos. So we have uploaded all our videos here. Okay, so whoever joining today's session, so if you want to go to the demo, sorry, just a second. If you want to go through the demo, so you can just go to the video section here. You can just go to the video section here and you can see here data analyst Power BI real time free live demo session. So you can just watch this session. Okay, so this is our demo session and today like you have joined for the session number one. Session number one. Whoever missed this class, you can just like go through once. I'm sharing the link in the chat box. I'm sharing the link in the chat box. So who haven't done their enrollment yet, so who are to done your enrollment, you can just share your name and WhatsApp number in the chat box so that like my team will be adding you to the Power BI real time hands-on project WhatsApp group so that you can just get all the updates here, all the course updates, all the job openings, and if you want to discuss about any doubts and all, you can just like utilize this group as well. Okay, so my team will be adding you to that group. Just share your name and WhatsApp number in the chat box so that like my team will be adding you to the group. So who have already enrolled, so mostly like we have already added to the WhatsApp group. So if still not added, please share your WhatsApp number in the chat box so that like we'll add you today. You can just select Raj Cloud Technologies in the chat box and you can share the WhatsApp number, name and WhatsApp number. Yeah, whoever joined just before the session, whoever paid the fee just before the session, so you will be added, you will be given the complete enrollment and all. Don't worry about that. So just a 30-second break, like I'll just like hand out the session to the Ambarishan Garu. Meanwhile, you can just post your WhatsApp numbers here. Yeah, at the end, I'll be just discussing about this registration process as well. Don't worry. So at the end, I'll be discussing about this. Okay. So now I'll just like hand over the session to the Ambarishan Garu. Ambarishan Garu, you can take over from here. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Karthik. Just give me a minute. I'll share my screen. Just 1 minute, please. All right, sorry for the delay. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining the session. If you are not aware, I'm just kind of giving you a small idea. If you're not aware, we had a session in the morning as well, and the same content will be kind of repeated here in the evening session. So you are welcome to stay if you have participated in the morning session as well, but I'll be repeating or going through the same details today in the evening session as well. And that's going to happen for some time. Let's go and understand that. And yeah, with that note, let me go ahead and share my screen and get started. I think the screen is all visible. I just have a browser on my screen here. So let's go and start off with the first topic here. All right, I'm just going to give you the mic permission. Please don't unmute yourself and do not disturb the class or the session. But yeah, if you want to stop me and ask me any question, you're very much welcome for that. All right, so let me start off with one of the important topics that we want to learn. And what I want to do is I wanted to go with one of the, like I said, the important topics to go through. So let me bring up a slide here. And we want to talk about something called as traditional BI, first of all. We want to go ahead and set up the foundation and base for Power BI. And, if you understand this one concept, every single time I go ahead and do something inside Power BI, and if I go and, showcase certain details, we will bring this particular concept up every single time. And we have to go ahead and be aware of this one single idea so that we are not going wrong and we are not loading too much of data or you're not crashing the tool. This is very important for you to understand. Okay. So just getting into these slides and going through these details. Before that, what I'll do is I'll go to the browser again and let's go ahead and go to a website. I'm talking about a website here. And this is a website called as makemytrip.com. All right. Now we'll understand the ways of working here a little bit, and then we'll implement that idea or a knowledge in the traditional ways of working for the BI tool. So let's go ahead and do this. All right. So I think you have gone or used any of these different websites. This is again a simple website, and you may have used a different version of it, different variation of it, or completely a different website, but it's all the same. So I may have some questions while I go ahead and perform some operation here. I may ask you some questions and let's see. I would like that answer in the chat box, or maybe you can unmute yourself and talk to me. So let's go do that. All right, now I'll just go ahead and select a few, source and destination. I'm just going to book a flight here. So let me just say I want to go from Bengaluru to, let's just go to Delhi. And I'm going to book a ticket somewhere like that. And that's our departure date. We'll arrive or come back on certain dates like this. Let's just go ahead and set this. And what I want to do is I want to give this tool a tough time to find some flights for me. And I'm just going to max these filters out. I'm just going to have this maxed out. And then we also want to go with a business class so that, it's hard for the flight or the tool to go and find those flights. And we also have a lot of infants, children traveling here. So it's a group of a good amount of people, but we don't want them to travel in different flights. I hope the tool is going to go make sure that it's not going to happen, and it's all, infants are not put into a different flight, so on and so forth. So there are a lot of considerations here. So I want to have all of that in mind, and I just want to have these filters set this way. and I'll go and hit the search button. Okay. Now, when I hit the search button, I'll go and pause the screen. I'll ask you a little simple questions, and I'll just see if you have some idea on what's going on, and then we'll go from there. Okay. All right. Let's hit the search button. Click on the search button, and I'm just going to pause the screen here. Yes, let's just do that. And I think I'll have to do it again because I've got my filters gone. Okay, just bear with me on this one more time. Just let's go do this. Let's just change this a little bit. And I'm just going to go do this. Okay, great. So you can see that this is the screen is loading. It's trying to go ahead and do something behind the scene. We have got all our criteria here. My question, and a very simple question, is what do you think is happening here with the website? What is this doing behind the scenes? Anyone? Give me a layman terms example or explanation here and tell me what is going on here.
Hi, this is Pawan.
Yes, Pawan. Yeah.
I, yeah, I think here data will fetch and it will use the data like what date we selected and all.
Right. Where is it fetching from? Where is it fetching the data from?
Back, it's back end. I mean,
Okay. What do we call that backend? I just want a term for that. Can I call that a database?
yeah, database.
Okay, good. Everyone agrees. Is there any other version of this answer? Anyone has a different opinion? What's going on, maybe? Let me know what's going on. What are your thoughts? Okay, I'll take that as no. Let's go ahead and move on then. So let's go ahead and say, and I'm just going to rephrase this statement a little bit so that it's a little more clear. So we have these filters here, and what will happen is these filters will be converted into a query. Can I say that? Let's say it's a SQL database or any sort of a database. It will be converted into a query, and this query will be executed in the database behind the scene. All right. And once the database gives you the result, that result will be displayed in front of you in this particular page. Am I right in saying that? Yes, everyone agrees. Okay. So this is what is happening behind the scenes. So we have a query getting framed based on the inputs that we have given, and it's going to be executed against the database. Once that execution completes, it is going to render the results in front of you. So let me just come out of this freeze mode, and you'll see that we have got all the business class flights for us listed in front of us. Okay, this happens really quickly. So let's go through that particular, uh, a few fraction of a second in which this gets executed. So I'm just going to run this for a couple of times. I want you to also understand the delays during this response that we get. Just hold on. There will be some few seconds of delays. So let's say I want to go from Mumbai to New Delhi. I'm just going to alter the dates slightly a little bit so that it's a different query being run, and the tool is not going to just refresh it from cache, right? Or anything of that sort. So I'll just go ahead and say search. And just observe, there is a slight delay, a few seconds of delay. It's not yet there. And then we have our website loaded. And this is the information that we get. I'm just trying to tell you what's going on, right? So that delay during this information that we are trying to fetch, just going to do that one more time. I want you to keep in mind, and I'll just go ahead and talk more about this. Look at this. It's taking even more time for this particular search. And this is something that I want you to keep in mind. Okay, let's just talk about that in a while. Okay, great. So let's move on. And I would like to go back to my slide and let's talk about the same thing here. Now, that was a website. That's not even a reporting tool, but let's talk about the same concept using this reporting tool here. If I show you this screenshot, this is one of the old ways of working. This tool is called as SSRS. Okay. And SSRS stands for SQL Server Reporting Services. This is one other Microsoft tool that we had initially. And, you're just looking at that particular kind of an interface. It's not a full interface, but it's just a glimpse of it. And you will also have these different slicers or filters. You're just adding that, and then you're getting that particular report run, and you're just looking at the preview here. Got it? So this is how things happen with the reporting tool as well. Let's go ahead and get some more idea and let's understand what can go wrong here. All right. Okay, so let's get the same idea, look at the same idea, and let's understand what may be something that we may have challenges with. So we have the same old server. Let's say, for example, there is a backend server, something is having the data. We'll have to get to the server and then get back the results. And we have this traditional reporting tool, let's say, for example, and this is where we will go ahead and have those text boxes or drop downs, and we'll have to go ahead and fill those different details, select those different details. And once we do that, you know, a query is going to be framed behind the scenes, just like I mentioned it earlier. And this query will be executed on the database side. I hope you're getting that right. Now let's take a step back, and I want to go ahead and talk about something. In case of the website that we did, we had a start date, we had an end date, and we had all of that. And that was all fine. It was one single value. It was one more value here. The range of dates were not too many. It just has to look at the starting date and the ending date and give you the flight results. Yes or no? The tool was doing that. And for that also, it took a little bit of a time. You saw the delay happening. And even for those one single day's information, it took a little bit of a time. The start date and date, maybe 2 days of information, and then it's taking some time. Now let's take a step back and we'll understand how this is going to work for a larger data set. All right. I would like to bring up, and I bring up this example a lot. You will see that happen today as well. Let's say we are talking about Amazon, one of the biggest e-commerce giant in the world. Yes. And how much data is Amazon producing? It's producing so many number of records, transactions, I would say, every single minute or second. Yes. There are a lot of people purchasing even today, and even now when I'm just talking about all of this, there may be few transactions being logged already. Someone is checking out from the cart, right? So let's say millions and millions of transactions, just for the numbers to be easy and simpler. And I'm not going to do the big math, or I'm just going to give you an idea here. Let's say 10 million transaction per day in India alone, or maybe across the globe. You just kind of understand that point. What about 30 days of data? Right? Let's just do a math. 10 million multiplied by 30. You get the details for 1 month. Let's say 365 days. That's going to be for the entire year. How about 5 years of data? How about 7 years worth of data? I'm just doing a rough math. It may not be that much in the past, but I'm just giving you that idea. So let's consider, let's say 5 years worth of data for Amazon. You're trying to go and pull that information. You said, hey, I want last 5 years, everything. And this is going and querying this database. And do you think this result is going to be coming up in a few seconds? Do you think it's going to be rendered in a few seconds? Yes or no? Just a simple question. Yes or no? Did someone say something?
No, it's lots of data. It's not won't load at a time.
Right,
Let's
right.
take
Very,
something.
yeah, very good. Thank you for that. So yes, it's not going to load it. I mean, it's not going to give you the results immediately. Have you used those sites like IRCTC in those old age, Stone Age days where it was all, during the peak hour, it will just go ahead and stop responding. You'll have some failures with your payment. You'll not be able to book your ticket. A few seconds of delay would have cost you the place in your, respective train. So that is going to be happening, and this is even huge. Okay. So we don't have the bandwidth, or I would say we don't have the right ways of getting to the data, querying the data, and getting back the data. So this was how the traditional BI approach was. So what we are talking about here is, and I'm just going to do that in a graphical format here. So here we are sending the data back to the server, and the server is going to just go and, if it was like 7 years of data, 5 years of data for Amazon, it's going to run and try to execute that query. It is trying to go and collect and have all of that data before it can render that to you. So this is going to run on and on and on forever, right? So if I just stop it there, and suppose, let's say you bring that particular data back to the reporting tool, and then you get to see your charts, graphs, and visuals. But you need to understand the amount of data that you're querying and how we are doing all of this. This is the traditional ways of working. You may be, supposed to go and do all of this because your boss is looking for, let's say, last 7 years worth of profit trend. Yes, you need to go and showcase that. And for that, what you need that 7 years worth of data. And that's Amazon's database. So imagine all of this and understand how much do you want to query. That's the first thing that I want you to understand, because Power BI is not a tool that you can just feed in all that you have and then you can get all that you want. No, it doesn't work like that. And we'll just go and understand how the tool works and how it's going to behave in certain cases. Okay. So this is one of the disadvantages that I would say, right? So delays during reporting. This is one common issues that we encountered working in traditional BI tools. When I say traditional BI tool, I'm talking about anything, any reporting tool that was there like 14, 15 years ago. Okay, 2009, 2011, I was just working on these different tools, and I worked on SSRS as well. That was one, heck of a tool where I had to go and work a lot. It also requires a dedicated developer, and it is not an easy tool to work with. You'll have to have a lot of configurations done. You'll have to go and do a lot of settings, preview. You saw that diagram. It's not that easy, but that's just the simple output that you're looking at, but it can be really complex to set it up. So I'm just bringing up some of the disadvantages, which will be converted into advantages as we progress and as we understand how Power BI works in this case. But this is what I want you to understand. So this was one of the problems that we had with traditional BI tools, and we'll see how to go and tackle this issue here. Okay. All right. Any questions here until this point? Anyone? Do let me know. Otherwise, I'll move on to the next slide. I will just go through some slides. Today is the foundation session, I would say. Okay. If you get this right, tomorrow onwards, when we work on Power BI, it's going to be very, very easy. Okay. So just bear with me on this. And this is a good, nice knowledge that's coming to you. No one is going to teach you this at the very first session, and you will not even look at this issue or this concept anywhere in the YouTube channel. Okay, I bet there is just one or two places where I've seen this, but it's not going to be given to you right away. And this is one of the good and the best thing that you're learning today. Okay, just bear with me on this. You need to understand this because this is going to be something that I'll touch base on. I'll bring it up every single time I go and work on Power BI. Okay, so just, yeah, understand this concept a little bit. It's very important. Okay, I see no questions. No one has any questions. I hope it's all good. Yeah. Okay, great. Let's move on. So let's talk about the modern ways of working. And for the modern ways of working, let's say we have the same server and we have a new tool this time. This is Power BI Desktop. Okay. Yeah, this is what we have. Just give me 1 second. Just wanted to see something here. Okay, good. All right. So
Sorry to interrupt.
yes, please go on.
As I'm very new to this, I am getting confused on on-prem server. On-prem
Okay.
server means it means like while we are giving the URL while fetching the data, the data will fetch from data from on-prem server. I'm not getting that.
Okay, good. All right. Very good. Yes, we want basic questions like this. Interrupt me anytime you want. This is good question. All right. You have, let's say, for example, you use Google Drive. Yes, you're using
Yes.
Google Drive. What is Google Drive? Do you know where the files are stored if you're uploading it on Google Drive? Do you have any idea where this in the entire globe? Where is Google Drive storing your files or Google storing your files? You have no idea. Got it? Yes. That's a cloud-based environment. Okay. It's a cloud-based environment. We can just keep it that way. Now, in the past, I was telling you that like 14 years ago, 15 years ago, we did not have a cloud concept. All right. We did not have a cloud concept. And this cloud is nothing different. Somewhere in Mumbai, somewhere in Pune, somewhere in Hyderabad, Chennai, New Delhi. I don't know is there in New Delhi or not, but they can set up some data centers. It will have a lot of servers, and that's where your files are going to be saved. That's it, simple as that. You should have seen those big server kind of setup in different videos and other things. So that's a cloud environment, and we are just talking about a lot of cloud-based things today. But in the past, let's say this is your office, this is your organization, and the organization will be setting up a room, and inside that they will be stacking up some servers. You will see some lot of wires and all of that. So we are setting up this server, and we are storing all of this data inside the server, and that is called as an on-premises server. The server is set up, managed, maintained in the organization. That's what I'm referring to in short as an on-prem server. Is this making sense? Yes. Yeah.
Yes,
So we
yes.
have this cloud environment, and we also have the organization storing it within their environment. So that's it. Nothing fancy here. Very simple idea. And since I wanted to kind of start off with a traditional tool, and that was not having that cloud-based concept, it can be cloud environment as well, but I'm just trying to kind of go in that old style, and that's why I'm referring to the on-prem server. Good. Okay, great. Any other questions?
On-prem server is not in the web server.
See, we are just talking about a database. Let's not understand and go through the web related concept. It's not a web server. It's a, let's say, report server where you have a database installed, and that can be more than enough. It has a way to connect to the outside world through some URL or link or username password. That's it. Nothing fancy. So it's not a web server. It's a report server.
Report
Okay.
server. Okay, you are saying about the SSRS.
SSRS, yes, that's it. Simple as that. You don't have to think too much. Web is again a different animal altogether. We don't want to handle that, right? Okay, just where your data is lying. That's it. That's your server, report server. Okay, anything else, anyone? Okay, great. Now look at how Power BI is going to handle it. Okay, so we have talked about traditional ways of working. What is traditional ways of working? Our queries will be built. The queries are sent to the server. We will receive that particular detail to this tool, and this tool is going to render the results for you. That's what was traditional ways of working. But instead of going back and forth to your server and then get the data, what the modern tools, we're talking about modern tools here, what these modern tools will do is they will go and pick or pull the data into themselves. Okay, and these tools are not like the databases. They can't store the data. So what they do is they pull the data. Let's say they are pulling like what, 7 years worth of data for Amazon. Okay, so that's what is coming in. They are pulling all the data that they need for analysis, and they are going to send this to the local RAM. I'm going to make sure that I write it here. Okay, just give me a minute. I'm going to type it here. Okay, let's just do this. It's going to send that to the local RAM, and it actually compresses that data. Let's say you get like about what, 10 GB of data. It can compress it, and it can just store this as 1 GB of information. Okay, so it will compress the data and store the data for you, and that's how things are all going to be done. This is a different approach altogether. So what we are doing is we are pulling all this information into the tool itself. The tool will create a compressed version of the file that it can read and write very easily, very quickly. And it's also highly compressed so that, we are talking about RAM here. And how much RAM do you have in your laptop? Most probably. We can have like what? 4 GB RAM, 8 GB RAM, 16 GB RAM. You may have something like that. Let's say we have 8 GB RAM here, right? So that's all we have. I can't go and store terabytes of data, petabytes of data. I can't do all of that. If I were to do all of that, I have to compress my data. And there is a compression engine behind the scene. We don't want to talk too much about it on a high level. Let's go and understand that there is a server which has data, but we are not going to go talk to the server again and again. We will pull all that information here. We'll create a compressed version of the file, and we'll read and write it from this local copy of the database. And we will not work with our servers most often. Okay, so we'll just not do that. So this is how it's going to be. Okay, let me just take it one step further, and we'll just discuss a few things, and then I can open this forum for Q&A. So I'm just going to cut off this thing link here. Okay, so only when it needs to go create this compressed version of the file, Power BI would need this connection. Otherwise, it's not going to look at that connection. So I'm just kind of hiding that. And when you have the data pulled, this tool is going to create this local copy of the data set. So it's first of all writing it, and then it can go and read from it. Okay. So it's going to do the reading and writing from this compressed version of the file later point in time, but it just needs this information to go and create that compressed version of the file. It's a local copy of your database, let's say, for example, and that's what is lying there. And we have this getting created in RAM, random access memory. Okay, let's talk about RAM. And I did say how much RAM you would have in your laptop or desktop. You don't have too much of a memory to go with, you know. So there are some good, nice computers, but if you want to invest in 16 GB RAM, 32 GB RAM, go for higher configuration, it's going to cost you a little bit, right? So we don't have too much of a RAM to work with. Let's say I have about 8 GB of RAM here, okay? And what I'm doing here is I'm just bringing in 10 GB of information, all right? And we are talking about compressed version of the file. So there is some compression ratio. So let's consider the compression ratio to be 10:1 by Power BI, which means if I'm sending 10 GB of data, that will be created or converted into 1 GB of data. And does this 1 GB of data, is it something that I can store in 8 GB of RAM? The answer is yes. Yeah, everyone getting this? Yes. Right. Now, let's move on. Let's say, for example, I have got 100 GB of data coming in, 7 years of data for Amazon. It can be more than that, but I'm just explaining this from that perspective. Let's say it does the same thing, 10:1 compression ratio. So what happens now? This now becomes what? 10 GB of data? Yes or no? Does 10 GB of data, can I go and store that in 8 GB RAM? The answer is no. I hope you're getting this idea, right? Yes, everyone with me. Can I get some yes in the chat box if you're hesitant in talking to me? Can you just put yes in the chat box if you're understanding this concept and if you're clear so far, right? Can I see some messages here? Or yeah, you can talk to me. Fine. Yes, thank you. Okay, everyone clear so far? This is what I want you to understand. So
I have one doubt.
yes,
This
please.
compressed means it's like they have to reduce the size of the file, or they have to delete some unwanted files like that.
Yeah, it's not going to delete it. It will, see, it's all structured in tabular format, right? So your database is all going to have everything in tabular format. So they are going to create it in a different format. For example, let's say you're referring to a value 11111 here. They will just go and structure this in a different way. They'll say one is being referred in column one, or sorry, row 1, 2, 5, 7, something like that. So they're just going and storing some information. It's more like metadata of metadata, okay, or your data. So they just go convert it in some different format. There are different ways of doing this. Again, let's not get into it. So it's not deleting it. It's converting it into a more read and writable format, which is going to be easier and quicker for the tools to do. So that's how they convert and store it. So it's like they will know where to populate this information. It's like that. So if you have these ones here and it says 1 2 5 7 is where I want to populate it. When you go back to this tool, let's go back to Power BI, and when you want to look at it in a tabular format, so for the first row, second row, fifth row, seventh row, it will populate 1. So it's a storage mechanism. It's not deleting the data. If we delete the data, there is no point in analyzing that, right? So it will not delete it, but it will only compress it, in the sense it will store it in a different mechanism, which actually contracts the memory that it requires to go and store that much amount of data. So there are a lot of things there, column storage and other different
Yeah, one
storage.
more. I just like duplicate data is won't. I mean that also it won't be delete. It's like whatever data is there, just we are reducing the size of the file, but same
Right.
data only it will be converted.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Thank
Okay,
you.
good. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, that's fine. And I'm just going to come back a little bit. So let's go back to our old, idea here. What does happen now? This 8 GB of RAM again, you may want to understand, is not going to be there for the entire Power BI application, right? So see, we have operating system, we have other applications running. I've got my slides here. I've got my other browser going on. There is this a lot of other application open. So a lot of other applications are also going to use RAM. So probably you're not even having 8 GB of RAM. It's only 7.5 GB that you have got left now after opening all these different apps. And one of your apps is Power BI Desktop, and that's going to be very, very little for 10 GB to go and set. Just kind of giving you an idea how that works, right? Okay, any questions, anyone? Okay, good. I
I
hope you
have
get.
one doubt.
Yes, please go on.
It's if the data is like 10 GB, if beyond the 10 GB or else RAM is 8 GB, beyond the 10 GB, it will compress to 1 GB, right? Then if it less than the 10 GB means it won't compress, right?
No, it's not like that. Anyways, if it is any data that you're bringing in, any amount of data, it will compress. The idea is to compress the data. Okay. It will not store it as is. But what I'm talking about here is if you bring in more and more data, let's say I'm bringing 100 GB of data and the compression ratio is just this much. Let's say you feed it 10 rows, it can convert it into 1 rows. If you feed it 10 GB, it can convert it into 1 GB. That's what I'm talking about. So when you're looking at this kind of a compression ratio, that's 10:1 ratio. If I'm sending 100 GB of information after conversion, after compression, it is 10 GB. So this 10 GB is what is going to be stored in your random access memory. And if it is if it is more than your RAM size, it's not going to be stored. So that's the idea that I want you to have. Okay. Did I clear your question, or is that fine? Did that answer your question? Yes or no?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, good. All right. All right. So yeah, this is what I want you to understand. And please, these numbers, please do not take it literally. I'm just giving you an example, a high level example to make you understand. Okay. Power BI has a great compression ratio. Yes, you can load 5 years worth of data of Amazon into Power BI, but please, please don't do that, because that's what is the first mistake that everyone does. Your boss is asking for 5 years worth of profit trend. You don't have to just like that load every transactions information into it. How many data points do you need? Hardly 5 to 10 data points is what you need. You want, let's say, monthly data. So it's going to be 12 into 5, almost 60 odd data points. So that's the only data points that you need. So if we can roll this up into some of those different details, I can draw and connect those dots. You're getting my point? So that is how we want to do it. Don't load millions and millions of transactions just to get that 60 odd data points. All right. So that's where I want you to think a little bit. And as we progress, you'll understand all of these things. No matter if you're not from this technical background, if you don't understand what's a table, if you don't understand what's a visualization, no worries. I'm just going to go into that in a very, very simple fashion and ask those silly questions anytime if you want. I'll be able to answer it. Don't mind. Yeah, but do not deviate too much from the topic. So that's the only request that I have. I can give you all the answers that you need. Okay. All right. Any questions here? And again, like I said, don't go with that compression ratio. It's not going to be that way. Don't just have 10 GB in mind always, and don't just have 100 GB in mind. This is this is for you to understand what happens when you go and load so much of data. You can bring in millions and millions of rate data, few thousand records as well, but that is all going to be converted, compressed, and that's how it's going to be stored. So no matter how you do this, this is how Power BI is going to work. This connection is called as an import connection. Okay, why are we calling this as import? Because the data is being imported into your local memory. That's why it's called as an import. Now you can also have your data set or database here. You can also have Power BI here. And if you connect to this live, if you go directly with this is called as a live connection. You can also set up a live connection, or this is called as a direct query in Power BI. Okay, direct query. I'm just writing it short. So this is what we have, and direct query or live connection means the tool, Power BI tool, will look at the database as a live connection. Any deletion here will also be getting deleted immediately here. The changes will be reflected immediately on the other side. Any insertion here will also be getting inserted here. That is one. And the third one is like any updates, let's say any updates will also be getting updated there immediately. It's like you're watching a live telecast. Yes, IPL is all going on. Somewhere some game is going on and you're able to watch that from your home. There's just a delay in slightly, getting that um, details. I mean, just a few seconds of delay, I believe. So I hope the satellite and other, ways of communicating it is all fast, and there is a slight delay, a minute's delay at least, and that should be good enough. And that's how this works as well. You're looking at the data that can also go and get updated immediately, almost as the interaction is going on in the report. And that will all be something that we will go ahead and cover in later stages of this session. But yeah, we'll just talk about that sometime soon. So this is called as an import mode. This local copy is getting created, and this is called as a direct query or a live connection. Okay. I'm just trying to show you things from a block diagrams perspective so that you understand it, but let's see how this goes. All right, let me see. Yeah, my team is just putting some chat messages here. Just try to go and share your WhatsApp number, your name and WhatsApp number. We'll just add you to a group, and then we'll just try to communicate with you, and we'll get you going with this session and other details. If you have not already contacted my team, please do that. You can just send that privately to Raj Cloud Technologies, and we can just get that done. All right, great. Let's move on. Just going to just show you this. So once this is all done, we will go ahead and publish this to a cloud-based environment. There is also an on-prem server available. Okay, so a server itself where you go ahead and deploy your code, that is all available. But we will do this in a Power-based service environment. You'll understand how that works. And that's all coming up later. Okay, so we'll just understand those things later. All right. I wanted to touch base on the advantages here. So what are the advantages that we are talking about? We're talking about reporting time drastically being reduced. So this data is now lying locally in your random access memory. And when that happens, what is happening here? The data is very much and very easily accessible. You can get to that data very quickly. It's also in a compressed versions of the format, and it can go and read the data or write the data very quickly. So the tool is going to do all of that for you. And I'll show you as we progress, where is that particular location, how the file comes up. You won't be able to read that file. It's not something that opens in Excel or anything of that sort. Okay, it is not something that is able that we are able to read it. The tool will be able to read it. Power BI will be able to do it. So that's how things work here in Power BI. But I'll show you that. Just remind me those different things sometime soon, and I'll just touch base on those details. Okay. Okay, before I move on, okay, last one thing. Self-service BI. This is called as a self-service BI because, like I said, in the traditional ways of working, we needed a dedicated developer, right? But here in this case, let's say I go to Amazon's CEO, Jeff Bezos. I say, I'm introducing Power BI to this guy. Okay. And I say, hey, Jeff, you can just go ahead and connect to the data like this. And you can just drag and drop, and you'll be building an amazing report here, or a chart, graph, or visual. That's all it takes. 30 minutes of time. You can also go and learn Power BI in next 30 minutes or so, and you will be able to connect, visualize, and bring out those insights. So that's the reason this is called as a self-service BI tool, just like how you would do the self-service in restaurants. You walk in, you pay the bill, you go and get your food and all of that. Just like that, anyone, any management folk, anyone who's a top level executive, who's not so technical, yes, anyone can get started with Power BI. It's a drag and drop report builder. It's one of the easiest and the simplest tools to learn. Yes, it has a lot of areas where you have to go and work on and touch base on and understand, but it's one of the simplest tools to learn. And you also have, I mean, I would compare this to Excel, and this is easier than Excel to learn and understand. Okay. You have to know some foundational aspects of things, but that is all something that I'm going to teach you. So you'll understand this. And like I said, this is one of the easiest tools to learn. I went ahead and switched my career towards the data visualization tools like this because I felt this is much easier to work with. Okay. So you don't have work pressure. Yes, I mean, it depends on the project, of course, how that goes, but you don't have too much of a work pressure. You don't have to stress too much. You don't have to, really worry about a lot of things here. It's a very simple career path that you can take. It's a very simple tool, like I said. If you can master some techniques, if you can just kind of see, showcase your ideas in the interview, that's what is required. So if you can just showcase that in a very simple terms, simple ways, that's more than enough. No one is asking for a bookish definition. No one is asking for a, very clear cut definition. You just have to understand what is what and how to present it and what is your idea on those different details. That's it. And that's how we will be learning all of this. So let's see how that goes. Okay. All right. Enough of talking. Let's go get to the next slide. But any questions on this slide? Anyone? Let me just take a moment. I'm not sure if those WhatsApp numbers are coming up or not, but just a simple and a reminder again, just put your number in the chat group. If you're doing that to my team already, that's good. Thanks for that. But just a reminder. Okay. All right, great. Let's move on. I don't see any questions coming up. I just want to go to one more slide, and I think that should be taking a little more time. So we just work on these different ideas today. Tomorrow onwards, or the next session onwards, I'll just go ahead and talk about the tool. I'll show you how to install it today, and then we will just jump right into the tool, and then we will work on the tool from next session onwards. Yes, please. Questions? Anyone?
And one more, sir, this won't delay, right? That reporting. It's like disadvantage you told, right? Delays during reports.
Right,
It's like
right.
advantage.
Right. So
This
that
time you told,
disadvantages has converted into an advantage. Yes. Yes, please go on.
yeah, it's like here it is advantage means report is it will come fastly like that,
That's
right? It
correct.
won't be
So
delayed.
correct. You're looking at, like, let's say you want to go and go search for 7 years data. You have already created a copy of that here in your local machine. So that 7 years data can be very well, very quickly brought into your report. It's lying locally here. That's the reason. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yes. And I'm not talking about loading 7 years of data. I'm just saying that as an example so that you can understand how fast it can be when you look at this setup here, right? Yeah.
Yeah. That for that dedicated power, I mean, developer need, but for here it will come, and we can
As a
only take
self-service
it.
BI. Correct. Yes. I'm just highlighting a couple of advantages and disadvantages here. I'm not going through everything, but these are important things for you to note. That's it. Yeah.
Okay, fine.
All right. I think I missed one point here. Thanks for bringing that up. And so this tool is going to use RAM, random access memory, right? So for this case, this tool is called as an in-memory tool. Okay. So this tool is called as an in-memory tool. And whenever I talk about this tool or this kind of a concept, I call this as in-memory concept. Okay. So just keep this in mind anytime in the future when I say, hey, in-memory concept, we have learned it. This is what I'm talking about, the modern ways of working. And it's all about taking your data into the compressed version of the file, into the RAM. So RAM is what is the memory that we're talking about. And this is called as an in-memory tool. Okay, just that I wanted to highlight it. Yeah, good. Okay, let me move on to the next slide. All right, we have been talking about traditional BI, modern BI. So there is BI everywhere. There is BI in Power BI. Yes. So what is BI? Anyone? What is BI?
Business intelligence.
Okay, define business intelligence then. What is business intelligence? Anyone? What do you
Meaningful
infer out of this
interpretation
term?
of the data that's there.
I'm sorry, your voice is a bit low. Can you just
Sorry.
say that?
Meaningful interpretation of the data that's available.
Okay. Okay, meaningful interpretation of data. Good, good. What else?
They are going to make any decisions. This intelligence, it is that the reports is required, right? That if they have to take any decisions, that is um, good to take the decisions.
Right.
They did.
Right. Very good. Very good. That's a complete answer. Very good. I'll take that. I'll just go and touch base on that again, give you all the clarity. But yes, any other version of the definition, business intelligence, what is it? What is it? Come on, guys. What do you understand of this term, business intelligence? We have 23 participants, my team, and minus me, it's like 28 participants at least. Come on, I need one answer, one definition. Yes, please. Srinivas, I see you unmuted.
Yeah,
What
it's
Like
a
one
kind
more I
of
can tell.
thinking in advance.
thinking in advance? Okay, very good. Let's see if that is the case.
It is like raw data in converted to meaningful of the data. Like
Yeah, good, good. But the first definition, I will take your first definition because that was complete. This is just halfway through. Okay, I'll just take that first definition. I'll come back to that one. Okay, good try. What else? Anyone wants to add something else to this definition? Yes, please.
Hello.
Yes, yeah, go on.
Yeah. Giving all the inputs to improve the business.
Okay, all right. Okay, yeah, I'll take it, but again, that's yeah. I'll put it in a different way, but that is making sense. Yes, I understand. Okay, good. All right. Rajashekhar Reddy, you want to say something? You are unmuted.
Data visualization.
Okay, data visualization is just one part of it, one small portion of it. Oh, very good. Good. What else?
Hi, this is Bhargavi.
Yes, please tell me.
It's a process of collecting data and analyzing it and presenting to the business,
Very
which
good.
helps to the organization to keep their improvements of the data.
Very good. That's a complete answer. Very good. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for the input. Let me just go through this definition and, I'll tell you what this is. So there is two parts to this. And whenever I say the answer that I got was incomplete, it was just halfway there. No hard feelings, anyone. I'm just kind of trying to just tell you what it is. So when I say it's halfway through or just half of that definition is coming up, let me go to this slide and don't go through anything else. Just observe me what I'm doing and let's understand a few things here. Okay. Let me go ahead and split this into two phases. This is what we want to do. This is the first phase and this is the second phase. Okay. Now I heard and I got the answers where people said, hey, I'm going to go look for the data set. I'm having all this different data set. And we want to go ahead and build some insights, visualizations, all of that. Good. So yes, we have to go through a lot of different path, ugly path we have to go ahead and take. But yeah, we will do that later. But let's go ahead and understand that we are just going ahead and creating some amazing reports, visualization. Someone said visualization, very good. But what are we going to do with all of that? Are you going to keep it with yourself? Are you going to just say, hey, I built an amazing report, but this is so good that I'll keep it myself? No, that's not the point. We have to go and share that with our business users. And what these users, and these are not any users, okay? When I say business users, they are the decision makers in the organization. I'm going to present it to the Jeff Bezos, the CEO of the company, the chief technical officer, the chief financial officer. It can be the reports going to your top level executives, directors, your own manager. It can be anyone. But anyone who has authority, anyone who has the decision making, skills and who does make those decisions, that's what we are talking about. Okay. So these users will go and take informed decisions, and that's what is the whole point. So what are we trying to do? We're trying to convert our raw data. Someone mentioned that as well. And we are going to analyze the data. We are going to interpret that data. We're going to put that in a visual format, dashboards, whatnot. And then we will share that with our users for informed decision making purposes. Okay. That's the whole point. So without the first point and the second point, this definition is incomplete. If you want to stop it here, there is no point in building all of this amazing visualization if it is not being used by someone else to go and make decisions, right? So decision making is the whole point of this entire business intelligence thing. And what you're doing in the middle is you're identifying the data sources, where is it lying? You're going through a lot of phase and you're just kind of bringing that out in a visual format. Why visual format? Because you got a table here and you don't want to present the same table in a different format to your user. That's not going to make sense. If I open a table that has 200 columns, millions and millions of rows, and if someone is asking how much profit am I getting from India, that's not the answer that I have right away in front of me. But if you can just put a card visual, a simple card visual, you can say, hey, we are getting about 2.3 million in profit for just this last year, something like that. That's a big thing to go through, and that's a good thing to look at, right? So that's how we want to go and summarize our data. We want to share those insights to our users so that they can take decisions out of it. Let's say there is this, again, Jeff Bezos is looking at something here, and he goes and identifies a region where they have put up a warehouse. They have come up with a warehouse and they have a lot of employees. They are paying a lot of salaries for that, and that region is not giving them any profit. If that's the case, you don't want to go and I would say have anything running there. We don't want all those setup. We can just move that somewhere else where it is profitable. So those are the decisions I'm talking about that these people will take. So if you want to understand that, you'll have to look at it in your data. Yes or no? The data is going to tell you all the stories. And you build those different details in a visual format that's going to bring out those stories. And that's going to help us to go and help the business users take the informed decisions. So that is when I say the definition is complete. If you're not giving them for that decision-making purposes, it's of no use. All right. So what I'm talking about here is the business intelligence is the process of transforming the raw data. You're going to look at the raw data. You're just going to look at that. You will go and transform that into an actionable insight. Everyone, I got these different words. I was so happy. And we are going to do all of this through, data analysis, visualizations, reporting. We just went through that. So you're going to go convert all of that way. And that's going to help the user to support in their business decisions making, right? So that is how we want to do this. You getting my point? That completes our business intelligence definition. Good. Okay. But I want to go ahead and explain a lot more to you in this particular diagram. So we'll just go ahead and split this into multiple smaller sections, and we'll understand each of these sections and what to do and what not to do there, how to go approach your, data, and also how to work on that. Let's go ahead and understand all of that in some time. Okay. Yeah, again, this is very important, and we will go through all of these details today. It's going to be more theoretical, but it will be really impactful for you for sure. I'm sure about that. Okay, great. Let's move on. So let's say I'm just going to give you this example, data source, and there are different ways I can put it, pitch it, but this is something that you want to understand. So let's again take the example of Amazon, and when they started, let's say they started, and I remember vaguely it was like 1996 or so, they were in business from that. So let's say 96, that was an old age, stone age kind of a days. And do you think we had all the cloud-based hi-fi technologies during that time? No, we did not have it. So let's say the team of Amazon, or even just Jeff Bezos was working, they were just getting that in an Excel file. Let's say, for example, it was all Excel file for you in 96. Let's say they moved on and they had a lot more data coming in. So they had to go and convert that into a database, let's say, for example. So we have got a database in few years of Amazon's success that's coming in. And then now today they own the cloud business. So hopefully they are also using the cloud environment for themselves. So they're going ahead and storing all the cloud, all the data in the cloud. So we're talking about the cloud computing, cloud details and all of that. So that's all coming into play, and they may store the data inside the cloud environment as well. Again, cloud is nothing but you don't know where the data centers are. Your data is just being stored somewhere. You don't know where your Google Drive file is getting stored. Okay. That's the simplest answer that I can give you. So that's what we're talking about. So how is this progress? How is this thing happening? Now, if you want to go ahead and collate last 20, 25 years of data, you're going to bring all of that from these different environments. You're going to put it in a place like a data warehouse or something like that. You can also have that as a compressed version of the file. You can go and read and write through that file into these different visualization tools. I hope you're understanding my point. So there is no straightforward way to go and get your data for sure in your real-time environments. You'll have different sources to connect to. You'll have, yes, you may be lucky if you get all of this data. Someone has done the hard lifting, heavy lifting, and if anyone has gone through this particular phase and they have loaded everything in one place called as data warehouse, that can happen, or databases, then you just have to connect to that directly from data warehouse, and that's how things are going to happen. But I'll go ahead and showcase the essence of data warehouse in this picture. We'll come back to that, but there are different ways of doing it. Okay. So what I'm trying to tell you here is, you will not work on just one single data source. Your data will lie across different data sources. You may be getting a database to connect and work with. And all of a sudden your manager is going to say, hey, there is a mapping file. We've got a manager's mapping here in this file. Just go ahead and add it to your report and map these values to your existing report, something like that. So you have a database initially, and then there is a file coming in. So you have to work on that. So these tools have to go ahead and work on, I would say, heterogeneous source systems. Are you getting this? So you may be going and sourcing the data from, let's say, a file system, a cloud-based environment, or a SQL server, and all of that and whatnot. There are a lot of different varieties of different data sets, and you may go and work with that way, one or the other way. And that is what the data source is all about. Even for Amazon, let's say we have this United States information. Let's say they are all storing it, and they are just all old ways of working. They are all in the Excel world still. And we in India, let's say we go and store things in, let's say, for example, in a database. Okay, let's say. And we also have the presence in Singapore, let's say, for example, and in that they are going and storing in cloud-based environments. So you want to collate all of that, and you want to bring all of that together. I mean, it's the same example, but in a different variation here. So if you want to bring all of this information together from different locations, from different timelines, 20, 30 years back, there was no cloud environment. So what was that? File, database. You have to go and collate all of that. So that is what I'm talking about. And you may be connecting to a lot of different data sources, right? That's something that you want to understand. And then we will also do the same thing. We'll load the data from a variety of different data sources, and you'll understand why and how we are doing that, okay? I hope that data source section is all clear for you. Yes. Let me just take the next steps here. We will go through a process called as ETL for sure, no matter what. Okay. And ETL is nothing but it stands for extract, transform, and load. Okay. Anyone knows what's an ETL is? Just put yes in the chat box, just for me to understand. If you have that kind of a background, I will just go and get that idea. Okay, so ETL is very simple. Don't think of it as a complex subject. So we're talking about extracting the data. Yes or no? So extraction means what? We are trying to pull the data, import the data from some place. We're trying to go and load the data into something else. It can be a database, data warehouse. It can also be that cloud or the compressed version of the file we talked about. It can be any different format. So we are just loading the data in some place in some format again. Okay, we'll get to that. Don't worry. Let's go ahead and focus on transformation, because this is going to be one of the important and most widely used areas of working with your data. So while you go through the ETL process, the transformation becomes very crucial, very important. So let me give you an example of how this works. All right. So if I go ahead and do this, let's say, for example, I go ahead and I'm loading a population data this time, let's say, for example, and I've got the gender details here. And we have zeros and we have ones, and let's say we have so many zeros and so many ones coming in. Oops, not like that. This one. Okay, this is how the data is all set up. Population data set. There is a gender column, and this is what we have. Now you jump into the visualization phase. You are so happy that you got this data. You're going ahead and creating a chart that says, hey, this is a count for 0, this is a count for 1. You're sending this to your user. What's the first question he'll go ahead and ask? Anyone? What is the first question he's going to get or come back to you and ask? What is 0 and what is 1? Yes. Everyone clear? Yeah. So that is a for sure a sure shot question coming from there, and they will always want to understand, hey, what's 0, what's 1? And if they don't have clarity, they'll come back to you. Okay. So what you have to go do is you have to go back to this particular phase, and that's where you have to transform your data. You are going to convert your data or add more meaning to your data. And you're going to say, hey, the 0, let's say that stands for male, 1 stands for female, something like that. And now if you go and showcase male and female that way, that is going to be much more easier for interpretation rather than the previous example that I gave you. I hope you're clear. Yeah. So that's called transformation. You're transforming the data, you're adding more details or more meaning to your data. You are going ahead and applying, let's say, business rules into your data set. These are all different things that happens in the transformation phase. Okay, that is what we have. Okay, let's just go on. Any questions, anyone?
It means like converting the data based on the requirement or else business requirement, right? Transforming.
Yeah, it may be business requirement. You may want to shape the data. See, you are going to be the developer, right? And when you load the data into Power BI, what you will find is there you'll find some anomalies. You don't want to jump and go back to your client. You don't want to call them. You don't want to disturb them. So there are certain things that you will do for yourself, but we will not assume too much. If you want to cleanse your data, if you want to go do something based on what you're getting, let's say there are errors, you want to go and get rid of the errors, you can try some methods there that is available in Power BI. But I would say it's yes going to be mostly business rules, logics, some derivations, some unwanted columns and rows to be removed. It can be any ways that you transform the data. It's all transformation for you. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll give you one more example. For example, let's say you have a file coming in. You have a file like this coming in. And in this file, let's say this is the only information that you want. This is in a tabular format. And this is the only information that you want. You don't want anything else. This is what you want to take forward. Okay, I'm just going to draw that one more time. Hold on. This is what you want to take forward. But what happens is you may have some headings here, headers. It says, hey, this was generated on this date in this IP address. This is the owner of this file. You may reach out to this particular person. The email address is given. And there are footers saying that, hey, this is the count of the number of rows that you have, number of columns that you have, something else, and blah, blah, blah. So you have some headers and you have some footers that are unwanted, unnecessary for your analysis. Correct? You just want this information. Got it? So what will you do? You'll start deleting these rows. You'll start deleting these rows. These are not required. Yes or no? So deletion of rows, removal of some unwanted columns that you don't need for the analysis because it's going to be again too much of a data loaded into your memory. You don't want all that. So anything of this sort is all called as transformation. In a simple word, I would say transformation is anything, any change that you do with your data set, it's all transformation. Okay. It can be splitting a column, it can be removing the column, it can be removing a row, deleting a row, transforming or deriving some details. Like for the gender column, we did that. We were deriving some meaningful details like male and female. So all of that is going to be useful, and that is how things are going to work. So this is how we want to look at things. Okay. I hope that's clear. ETL, is this clear? Any questions on ETL for now?
This extract, transform, these things and all we need to use in Power BI only, right?
We will do it. There is no explicit mention of this anywhere, but when we do it, I'll tell you where this is coming into play. Okay, I'll show you that.
Okay.
Yes, so whenever you're connecting to the data, you are for sure going to go through this particular process called ETL, and I'll tell you where that works. Yes. Okay, anything else, anyone on this ETL stuff? Everyone is clear so far? All right, great. Let's move on. Okay, we have something called as data warehouse. okay, in the picture here. Now the data warehouse is a I would say ocean of data. Okay, it's like that. It has so much of data inside it. So what are we talking about here? So I'll just give you a very simple definition of data warehouse, and then you will understand what this is. But we don't want to get into the so nitty gritty details of it, but we'll just understand it from a high level. Okay. So a data warehouse is something that should have been built for you already in your organization. You may be connecting to that directly. So like I said, you have identified, or someone has identified the data sources. Someone has used an ETL tool. You are aware of Informatica. Do you know what is SSI is? There are a lot of ETL tool available in the market. So anyone has used any ETL tool and they have loaded the data into data warehouse. Got it? So someone has already done the heavy lifting, like I said, and they have loaded all of that through this ETL process. They've already loaded that into data warehouse. Now, what is your job to do? You just have to connect to this data warehouse, load everything into your report, and start visualizing from your reporting side of things, right? That's a simple, easy way to go and work with your data. Simple. So sometimes, the team has already loaded things into the data warehouse and you're just connecting to that. And that's something that happens. But what is a warehouse, data warehouse? I told you somewhere in 96, that's when Amazon started. And, you know, um, let's say all that historical data, I'm just going to draw that as H, all the historical data, plus all the transactional data for today will all be loaded into this data warehouse. So they will be going and identifying, okay, that was an Excel file, or that was a CSV file, or that was a database. Okay, they would have identified all that. They would have loaded all the historical data into this particular tool, into data warehouse. They have already done that. And on a daily basis today, they are also going and looking at that transactional data and they're loading all of that. So it now has a huge amount of data, one single location where you can just go and get into it and understand what's going on. So all of that is there in one single place. And for some reason, for that reason, we call this as single source of truth sometimes. Okay, single source of truth, because you don't have to go anywhere else. You just have to go into the data warehouse and understand what you want. Okay, you'll get that answer. So these are different names given to it, but just understand it's a historical data plus any transaction happening today is also going to be loaded along with that historical data appended to that information. And that's what is a data warehouse. Okay. But I don't have it for that reason. Like I said, yes, you'll be connecting to this for sure. Someone has already done this and you'll be connecting to this from your visualization tool. But my purpose of showing this here is because there are some concepts that we'll have to learn, and this is coming from data warehouse. We will have some definitions like dimensions we want to go and understand. I'll talk to you about this tomorrow. We want to understand something called as measure. We want to understand something called as dimension modeling. We want to understand what is data modeling. So all of this is coming into picture from a database or a data warehouse. So that knowledge is what is required. And these are some definitions. That's it. These are some ways to understand certain concepts. If you are mastering those concepts, if you know that concept, the tool is also going to implement the same thing. But you as a human being will have to interfere sometimes. Let's say something is not considered as a measure. We'll talk about that later. Don't worry. Just understand this. If the tool, if Power BI is saying, hey, this is not a measure, it's doing that in a different way, you'll have to pitch in. You'll have to go and say, hey, no, this has to be considered as a measure. That's what you have to do. So for that reason, you as a human being should know all of these concepts. And it's not going to be too much. It's very simple. I'm going to give you in a very layman's term example what is what. So you'll understand all of that very easily. Okay. So yeah, let's go and understand it. That's the whole reason why I have this data warehouse here. Otherwise, you could load this directly without this data warehouse into picture. You can send that to the Power BI tool, and you can always visualize this. No problem at all. Okay. But we have that basic foundational concepts coming in. And that's the reason I have this. Okay. Any questions so far? I'm sorry I'm taking so much of a time to explain all of this, but this is very, very important. Okay. Yes, please.
So at the
Yeah.
beginning of the course, there was mention about SQL. So where does SQL come in play here?
SQL would come and play here. You will be querying the database using that language. That's all. Okay, but otherwise, if you're talking about ETL, it's a tool. It's a different tool. And if you're connecting to SQL databases, yes, you may want to write that SQL code here and then pull that information. So SQL can come into play there. The MySQL is also a SQL database. So any database would use some sort of a SQL language, Oracle, MySQL, SQL. There is also NoSQL today. We are also writing that. BigQuery in Google, we write SQL. So a lot of things go on with SQL. So if you're pulling the data and if you're really connecting to SQL database, you are doing that. Otherwise, in this data warehouse environment, it's usually a querying language that you use to go and do this. And yeah, this is where we'll use SQL. Yeah. Okay. Anything else, anyone? All right, let's move on. So nothing else. It's very simple now. So once you have got the data, it's easy to go and interpret, visualize, and other things are very easy. And you will be going and sharing your report with your users. You'll just be helping them to take that business decision. All of that is going to happen. So these are all some simple things. Don't worry about it. Let's not get into that very in detail. Okay. But I want you to understand one thing. I'll bring up this slide again, and I may have mentioned it in my demo, and I'm not sure how many of you were part of that demo, that we will not jump right into the visualization phase at all. And if you look at the course content and all of that, my team has already shared that. Go through that. So if you have looked at that, so look at the visualization phase. Where is it? It is one of the last phases in this first phase, right? So I did draw that first phase. That's the last thing that you have to worry about in that first phase. Okay. So we have to work on identifying the data sources. We have to do a lot of transformation. We have to do a lot of ETL work. That heavy lifting has to be done. We have to store that in the compressed version of the file, databases, data warehouses. We will not bring in data warehouse and databases into picture, but we do have that, in-memory concept, the RAM and other things coming into play in Power BI. So we have to store the data there. And then comes visualization. Okay, so there is a lot of things. There is also something called as data modeling. I may have mentioned it. So if you're seeing some diagrams where tables are getting connected, that's data modeling for you. Have you heard of this big monster called as DAX? Yeah, I don't want you to be scared of DAX. We'll go and learn it in a very simple fashion. Okay, so DAX is again something that we have to do. So we have to learn and understand how to connect to the data, how to do the ETL stuff, how to work on DAX, how to work on data modeling, and then comes visualization. And I've seen people jumping right away. And when they connect the first data source, let's say, for example, they'll jump right into the visualization phase. I'll tell you this, just like the gender column, where you had the zeros and ones, you'll go to the visualization phase. You'll immediately go and say, hey, this is 0, this is 1. All of that is good, but you will have to always come back to this initial position. Okay, so please do not go ahead and jump right into the conclusion. Are you going to watch your movie from the climax? No. So visualization is the last thing that you want to worry about. Please do that way. We will understand how to go through this and slowly get to that particular visualization. So visualization is like, I would say 15th or 17th session away from today. All right. I'm not going to touch this at all for the next 15 session. I'll just go and show you one or two, but I'm not going to touch on the visualization at all in our session. We'll have roughly around 20, 22 sessions max, 1.5 hour session each. That's going to be more than 30 hours. Okay. So that is how I want you to look at it. So just make sure that we are going to go through that way. You're not going to jump into this right away. Okay. Please make a note of it. And that's how I'm going to approach it, because there is a lot to do with data before you can actually go and do a visualization. Visualization is a piece of cake. Okay. You can just go do that in a very simple, very easy fashion. But if you don't have your data right, if you don't have your data sources properly identified, if you don't know and work on DAX, if you don't know how to work on the data modeling, it's not going to work here. Okay, so it's all going to go for a toss. So please make sure that you're doing everything before this correctly so that the visualization is going to work properly. Okay, yeah. All right. So that's what I want you to understand. I hope that is all clear. Any questions here, anyone? Otherwise, I just want to touch base on one simple topic, hardly 2 to 3 minutes, and then I'll turn it over to my team. Okay. All right. Any questions here, anyone on this slide?
Probably not with the slide, but in general with SQL.
Right.
Earlier it was mentioned that we'll be getting the recorded sessions for SQL for about like 15 hours of session or something.
Right.
Like, is it a must that we need to have that done like by a particular session you'll be having, or it can go simultaneously?
No, you can work on that parallelly. It's not something that I'll go ahead and touch base on. It's not mandatory for you to complete it within a certain time. You can go through that parallelly, but I will be using those concepts here and there inside my session as well. So, for example, a join, what is an append, and if you go with SQL, it's like union, all these different concepts. So, when I touch base on that, if you have gone through that, you'll have a fair bit of an idea. Otherwise, it's going to be difficult and hard, but I'll touch base on this from a very basic level, so no worries. Even if you don't go through that, I think you will understand the concepts here. But how to do it in an SQL world, I want you to go through that particular session and understand. Okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sir, actually, I have one more question. From tomorrow onwards, could you please record this session so that it will be helpful for referring in future practice or something?
These sessions are being recorded. I think the recording is already on, and you will be shared with this session. I mean, you'll get the recording link. This will be posted on our YouTube channel. So just go through that and understand where that is. It will be there in like 2 to 3 hours from now. And you can refer to this for sure, or ask my team. Get in touch with my team. They will be able to help you out. If you're enrolling for this session will be uploaded to your LMS portal, and it is always available for you. So no worries. We are doing that for sure. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. And one more question I have for practicing and all those things for Power BI or something, does it require any payable charges for practice or anything wants to pay or something like that?
No, so Power BI desktop, we'll be working on something called as Power BI desktop version. Desktop version is completely free. We do have something called as a Power BI service. It's a cloud-based server where you publish your report. That is going to be a little bit costly, like 1,000 rupees in Indian rupees or $10 in US dollars. But I'll tell you another way of getting that for free again. 60 days of trial is what you get. 60 days is enough for you to go and work on that environment. Otherwise, you can just redo the same process and get another 60 days. I'll give you all those methods and steps, and that should be good enough. It's all free for you, except the fees here. Yeah, it's all free. No worries. Yeah.
Thanks. Thank you. Thank you so much.
No problem. Yeah. All right. One last thing, guys. Let's go ahead and understand how to install Power BI. We'll have our next session on Friday. We'll just do this alternative days. Okay. And once we are back on Friday, you will be working on the tool itself. I'll go ahead and give you the lecture. So this 1.5 hour session is going to be all lectures from my side. There is a lot to talk, and I'll be the guy who will be talking a lot. Okay. So I'll show you how to work on Power BI. There are a lot of details that you want to go through, but let's go ahead and understand how to install it. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come out of it, and let's go to the start menu here. And this is the best and the easiest way of downloading or installing this software. I hope you're a Windows user, and I hope you have this Windows 11, Windows 10, because anything beyond that, I hope you're not in the Stone Age of 97, Windows 7, I believe, 8, and all of that, right? So Windows 10 and Windows 11 is what you should have. No Mac users can install this, but only Windows user. If you're a Mac user, find an alternative. There are different ways of doing it. There are some softwares that you can run to install Windows on Mac and then install the software. Or you can purchase a cloud-based VM virtual machine. It comes free for the entire year, so you don't pay a penny at all. So you can also set up that way and you can install it. If you want any help of that sort, do reach out to me. You'll be added to the group and you'll get to that particular detail. So yeah, just do reach out to me and I'll help you with all those details. Okay. But I hope you're a Windows user, and Windows users will have this particular software. It's called Microsoft Store. So let me open Microsoft Store on my laptop. Okay. And this particular software is what is going to give you something called as Power BI Desktop. It's an app, it's an application. And you can see that it's already installed on my machine, but you will get a button to go and install it. Just click on it and install it. Don't install Power BI Report Builder. That's all not required. Don't install unnecessary apps. We will not go through Power BI Report Builder. Our focus is purely on desktop. This itself is going to be 30 hours of session. So we are not going to deviate from that topic. Okay. So use Power BI desktop version, install it and get that set up. So if I just get into this, you'll see this blue button. It may say install initially, but this is all installed on my machine. So it's all simple click and then installation happens. That's it. Okay. It's a free software. You don't have to upgrade it if you do this in this method. The Microsoft Store is going to push all the updates to you automatically whenever you restart your system, whenever things are happening. This is going to happen on a backend basis. So that's going to be taken care of. So no worries. This is the easiest and the simplest way of doing it. Okay. So just find Microsoft Store. You'll find this in Windows 11 and 10 operating system. And then just go ahead and click on it, search for Power BI Desktop, just go ahead and install it. It's a completely free software. No questions asked. Okay. All right. And the second thing that I want you to do is if you are really interested in downloading and installing and going through that old ways of working, just go ahead and say Power BI Desktop, download 64-bit version. I'm going to ping this in the chat group. If you want, you can just download it from here and keep it. But otherwise, I would say, yeah, this is not required. Okay. This just gives you one more ability to go ahead and choose the language that you want. Let's say a Chinese person wants to go ahead and install it. The Chinese language is there, German and other things, French and whatnot. Hindi is also there. Have you seen Hindi anyway? Yeah, this one. If you want to go ahead and do that in Hindi, it's all done. You can just download that version and then install it. Yeah, just try doing it if you want to do that, but I'm not a fan of it. But just understand the system requirement here. Windows 10 and Windows 11 is the only supported operating system. Otherwise, the Windows servers, we are not going to work on servers. Our laptops have Windows operating system. That's it. So yeah, that's what it is. In Windows 8 was there initially. We were just working on Windows 8 for some time, but no, it's not there right now. So it's removed and that's what we have. Okay. So only Windows users can install it. If you're not a Windows user, if you're a Mac user, uh, try to get some other Windows machine or install some software that can run Windows or take a virtual machines installation help. If you want anything of that sort, get in touch with me. Yeah. Any questions?
Sir, one more question I have. This Power BI desktop, we can download it on our corporate desktop as well, right?
Yeah, there is something called as a company portal. I don't know if you use that in your organization or not. Company portal. That's a place where
Yeah.
your softwares are all there. Or
Yeah.
even if you go with the same thing, Microsoft Store, and if you see Power BI Desktop, click on it without admin privileges. It should be installed because this is pretty much free and it comes with Office 365 license. So you should be able to
Okay.
install it. Otherwise, get in touch with your admin team and then get it installed. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions, anyone?
I have one question. In
Yes, please.
future, we are going to work as a Power BI analyst or Power BI developer.
See, Power BI analyst, Power BI developer, data visualization expert, data analyst, all of these are just some terms or some sort of a designation. It's all the same role. Okay. So when you are talking from a developer's perspective, you work on Power BI desktop. You publish this to Power BI service. We will go and work on something called as Power BI service. That's a cloud-based environment, like I said. So these are the only two tools that you should know. And any developer, no matter what the designation is, it's going to be desktop plus the service. That's it. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. What else? Anyone? Any other questions?
So sorry for the interrupt. I have one more
No
question.
problem. Tell me.
The role of this Power BI developer or something is that only to work on the visualization and send it out to organization, or how it will be the role and responsibilities for this Power BI because the visualization, what are the data it is available in the corporate sector, we need to frame it in a more attractive and send it out to our management or Adobe heads. Is it a role or something else will be there for this?
No, that's the role, I would say, not anything beyond that. For example, see, it's a very simple thing. And if you have been with this particular session for some time, so we had this gender column, right? And I said
Yeah.
zeros and ones, so many different details. So let's say we have so
Okay.
many values. Now, looking at this is very difficult, and understanding and interpreting that is very difficult. So what a
Okay.
developer does is he goes and converts this into a chart, and we will just go ahead and do this. So this is zero,
Okay.
this is one, this is the count, this is the count, and so on and so forth. That's the only job. And then you'll have to deploy it. You'll have to do this. So you have to understand what is the requirement that you're getting, interpret that requirement, convert it into these different formats, visual formats, and then present it to your client, get an approval from your client, and then they give you a sign off and all of that. You'll have to go do some testing, unit testing, and then pass it on to a team, work with your different teams and all that. So there is a lot of process going on, but on a high level, as you mentioned, yes, it's all about converting the raw data into visual format, sharing that in a place called as Power BI service, a cloud-based environment, and then it's all about sharing and collaboration with your user. So simple aspects. That's what we do. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
No problem. Okay, so just try to install the software this way. Nothing else. Next session onwards, I'll be starting off with Power BI desktop. And if you have any questions, you can let me know. Otherwise, I'm turning it over to my team. They have last few minutes or some updates and other things for you, some offers for you. Maybe they're just going to talk about that. Yeah, I'll just let it. Okay, anything else before I just turn it over to my team? Please let me know. Okay, otherwise, yes, Karthik, over to you. Just
Yeah, Ambarishan, thank you so
yes.
much.
Yeah.
So hello everyone, this is Karthik again from Raj Cloud Technologies admin team. So hope you had a wonderful session today. So if you have any questions related to the registration, so still the team is available and will be available for next 30 to 35 minutes. So if possible, you can just contact us. Hope you can see my screen. So this is your WhatsApp number. Sorry. This is your WhatsApp number 8105296858. Okay. So for the registrations or the any details, you can just call or WhatsApp on this number so that like will be available for you and you can just complete your registration today. So we will be sharing you the Oracle SQL classes. There will be 15 hours of Oracle SQL content will be shared with you. So before the next session, you can just complete the installation of this Oracle, Power BI desktop, everything you can just get installed in your system and you can just get ready for the next session. So if you have any questions related to the registration, so you can just unmute yourself and you can ask me, please.
Sorry, sir. Actually, I joined very late. Could you know, can you please know the fee structure of this particular course? I
Sure.
joined very late today because I have, I'm doing currently working on some other meeting. So I just logged in late. Just explain what is the course fees of all.
No issues, no issues. So actually the course fee is 15,000 rupees. Okay, so this is our course price. So we'll be having like 30 plus classes, like 50 plus hours of training will be delivered to you. Okay, and the schedule will be the first 1 week or 2 weeks, you will be having alternative days schedule. That is Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Okay, so this week also like the next session will be on Friday, and the upcoming week like mostly like will be going for the continuous class sessions like Monday to Friday. So if the still people want to go for the alternative days classes, the next week also will be having alternative day sessions itself. Okay, this is our first session. Today is our first session actually. So like you can I'll just share this recording as well with you. So once after completion of this session, we'll be uploading our session to YouTube as well. So this is our YouTube channel. Okay, so Raj Informatica real-time hands-on job-based training. I'm sharing the channel link with you in the chat box. Just subscribe to the channel so that you can get all the updates. So that you can get all the updates from here. Yeah, I have shared the link in the chat box as well. Okay, so from here, like you can just subscribe to the channel and you can get the updates here. Okay, and as I said so there is some special offer like whoever like attended today's demo and if you want to enroll today, so your price will be just 13,500 rupees. You are going to get a discount of 1,500 rupees here. So your price will be just 13,500 rupees. And coming to the class timings and all, so we have 2 classes in a day. Okay, so we have 2 batches in a day. The morning batch is from 8 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. IST, and the evening batch is 9 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. IST. Whatever the content we delivered in the morning session, the same content we are going to deliver in the evening session also. If you miss the morning session, you can join the evening session. If you know that you are unable to attend today's evening session, you can join today morning and you can complete it as well. Okay, so if you miss both morning and evening as well, you'll get complete recordings here. So from the first session to last session, each and every session will share the recording with you, and these recordings are for lifetime. Okay, these recordings are for lifetime, so you can access it anytime, no problem. And we accept all the payment modes: UPI, bank transfer, net banking, credit card, international transfer, everything is available here. So no need to worry about that. You can just like message me on this number here. So this is the WhatsApp and calling number 8105296858. So that like you can just connect with me and you can complete your registration as well.
The one more last question I have. Sorry for the
Go ahead, please.
multiple
Go ahead,
questions.
please.
Once it is all the course, everything is done. Will it be? Please, could you help us in building a updated CV or something? How we
Yes,
portray how we have learned for this particular course, how we
Yeah.
practice and all those things. Can you just help us? Help me on us on the updating the CV. Is that possible?
Yeah, definitely. Like we are providing. So at the end of the sessions, like once after your completion of this course, so after completion of your capstone projects and everything, at the end, like we are going to provide you resume, interview questions, and like where the opportunities are available right now, how to apply for those opportunities, and like even from complete basic question, like how to answer the tell me about yourself question. From there, we will start and we'll help you in all the way. Even if you have experience in some other domains, how to convert into the relevant domains. I mean, so if you have any kind of career gap, like how to cover this career gap and how can you try for the latest opportunities, and each and every scenario, like will help you on that. No need to worry.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So if you haven't shared your name and WhatsApp number in the chat box, you can share your name and WhatsApp number in the chat box, so that like we will be adding you to the Power BI real-time WhatsApp project group, so that like you can get all the updates of the course. You can get like all the latest opportunities available in the market. And if you have any doubts regarding the course, or if you have any doubts related to the subject, everything you can discuss in this group. And the trainer and the many other experts are also available in this group, and our previous alumni is also available in this group, so that like you can get cleared of all your doubts if you have any also. Okay, so we will be adding you to that group. Just share your name and WhatsApp number as well. Yeah, I hope like no one having any doubts, right, regarding the registration or regarding to the subject. So everything is clear, I think, right? So if you can just give yes in the chat box, like we'll end the session. If you are clear with everything, can I get yes? Yeah, thank you so much for the confirmation. So as I said you, if you have any doubts, you can just connect us on this number 810-529-6858. Thank you all. Thank you for joining session.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks. Bye. Good night.